Welcome to MI Magazine Presents Soul, a weekly entertainment show on fashion, arts and culture, mental health, relationships, travel, and food. Our weekly co-hosts are Carla Hill, Dr. Delvina Thomas, and Chef Irie. Now introducing our host, Miss Nicky Gelin.
Hello, everybody, and happy Hump Wednesday. Welcome to MIA Magazine Presents Soul. So I'm your host. I'm Nicky G. Nicky Says YOLO. And we have a very special show tonight. And the topic is, it's Black women and cultural appropriation. So a few years ago with the Kardashians, there was a really big uproar about how they dressed, how they wore their makeup, their hair, and up came the topic, cultural appropriation. It's since died down, but does it still exist? I also want to talk more in depth about Sarah Bartman. If you have no idea who she is, stay tuned. I'll be giving more information about who she is. And celebrities like Beyonce, and which is how I learned about Sarah Bartman, she definitely recognized the contribution of Sarah being the epitome of the ideal Black female body. And also with the curvaceous posteriors being like, lauded all over TV and social media. Let's have a conversation about this. Let's talk about Black women and just the perception of being sexualized and also of being victims of cultural appropriation as well. So stay tuned. I have two featured guests that will be on the panel. Will be Barbara Jacq of Jacq's Organics and also Jamila Powell of Maggie Rose Salon and Naturally Drenched. So now let's give a shout out to our sponsors. So Soul is brought to you by the SWA Solid Waste Authority of Palm Beach County and the AARP. It's also brought to you by the African American Black Alzheimer's Disease Initiative at the John P. Hussman Institute for Human Genomics, University of Miami Miller School of Medicine. If you are someone that is experiencing loss of memory or have memory problems, or if you know someone who has those problems, please contact their research team for more info at 877-686-6444. Again, that number is 877-686-6444. And now it's on to my first co-host. She's our board-certified psychiatrist and also the host of the Brain Love podcast. So Dr. Delvina, happy Hump Wednesday. How's it going tonight?
Hey, Nikki, are you ready to take the couch? Thank you so much for that fabulous introduction. It is Hump Day. Happy Hump Day to everyone, to you, Nikki, and to our viewers. And if you're just joining us for the first time, thank you for coming on and taking a listen to MIA Soul. Every week I come on, I'm Dr. Delvina, and I provide the mental health and wellness advisement as a psychiatrist. I talk about everything under the sun of the brain. And tonight I want to talk about emotional intelligence. I made a few notes for you guys so I don't forget anything. So emotional intelligence is referred to as EQ. Emotional, and we know intelligence, IQ, but we refer to emotional intelligence as EQ. It's your understanding of how you manage your emotions in positive ways, right? Emotional intelligence is your positive way of responding to stress, effectively communicating when you're under stress, how you relieve stress, how you overcome challenges, and how you diffuse conflict. So we have to exercise emotional intelligence because it's a gateway to better health. That's the whole point of talking about emotional. So we want to do this because it's the gateway to better mental health, physical health, and healthier relationships. Think about the time you had a disagreement with your sister, or the time that you and your mother got into a big blow up, or the time that you and your spouse may have had an argument. Some things during an argument or a confrontation can be avoided when you use emotional intelligence. When you know how to manage your emotions so you don't become so angry that you say something you'll regret later, or you do something that you'll forever be regretful for. So all of these things can lead to success on the job, in the family, at school, at work, whatever the case may be. There are 4 skills that are associated with emotional intelligence. The first skill is, number 1, self-awareness. Self-awareness is the act of taking inventory of yourself and how you are feeling. So before you go into a situation, say to yourself, self, what am I feeling? What am I noticing? Why am I upset? Am I upset solely because of this person? Did I play into this? Allow me to check myself and do an assessment to see how I honestly feel and how I came to be in this position. Number 2, self-management. Self-management is how you control your behaviors and emotions in a healthy way. Self-management means not throwing the phone at your boyfriend because he didn't answer the phone when you call back to back 3 times. Self-management is not yelling profanities at your child because they didn't listen to you. They did something you told them not to do. Self-management for folks who are not used to self-managing can be difficult. But the more you try, the more you undo your old ways, I assure you, the better you will get. And parents, I want you to take note. Children watch us. The way that we manage our emotions, it influences our children and how they manage their emotions. I can personally speak to that. My father was a drill sergeant, part of my childhood. And so what I saw in him, I started to mimic as a young adult. And I had to undo some of those things. So we have to have, that's just full self-disclosure. We have to have self-management. The third thing, social awareness and how it correlates to empathy for others. You have to recognize and acknowledge the emotions of others, their needs and their concerns. So when someone tells you they're upset, you should acknowledge it by saying, I understand, I hear you. You could say something like, I'm so sorry I made you feel that way, or I didn't realize you were so angry. I did not understand what happened in the situation, but I understand it now. Thank you for explaining it to me. You can say, thank you for sharing your emotions. I get it now. You got to show some social awareness and some empathy for the other person. The fourth thing is relationship management. Relationship management equates to maintaining good relationships, being able to manage the conflict with others. Clear communication is included in that, and working in a team environment. So relationship management it goes for all spaces. You need relationship management in your personal life, in your family, with your siblings, with your parents, with your children, but as well as in at work, in your personal situations with boyfriends and girlfriends. We need it in all aspects of our lives. So I hope I was able to explain to you guys emotional intelligence and why it's so important. I'm going to leave you with the quote. Quote, there is an old-fashioned word for the body of skills that emotional intelligence represents: character. I'll say it again. There is an old-fashioned word for the body of skills that emotional intelligence represents: character. Character is that word. This is a quote by Daniel Goodman. So, will you commit to emotional intelligence this week and forevermore? Thank you, Nikki. Say brain love.
Brain love. Brain love. We'll see you next week. And now on to my next co-host. She's a national TV host herself and also our arts and culture expert. So Miss Carla Hill, happy Hump Wednesday. Miss Carla Hill.
Can you see me?
There you go.
Any Wednesday above ground, any day above ground is a great Wednesday. Great to see you, Nikki. And we have, what I'm presenting today goes in line with our guests. They are powerful female entrepreneurs. And tonight I want to talk about a really special business, Black-owned female business. It's the Her Mine Women's Self-Care subscription box. This one is special for October. So I want you to think about, remember, I shared my story a couple weeks back about being a cancer survivor. And this box is not just for those surviving and thriving during their health journey. This is for any warrior woman or warrior man that we know, because, we're not binary up in here. We celebrate everybody, right? When you open up the box, it comes with a personalized letter, personalized postcard. Look at that. You are a fearless warrior. And then it comes with a personal message from the owner Trudy Armand and Pam. Trudy is a co-owner. We want to celebrate the fearless warrior you are. And it goes on to really celebrate you personally. So you can get your own Her Mind box at her-mind.com. It should be scrolling under my name, her-mind.com. And I want to give you an exquisite look, an exclusive exquisite look at what's happening inside the box. The first thing I opened is another affirmative message. But guess what this is, Nikki? It's a lip mask.
I see that.
It's a paraben-free lip mask. We're all still using the mask. Please mask up for yourself and others and make sure those lips are juicy. When we get to wear lipstick back in public, I cannot wait. I'm hiding it under my mask. What's great to know is that Her Mind Box and Trudy Armand and Pam, they curate products made by women. And they each have their own inspiring stories. And they remind us as women to take care of ourselves and each other. They sell their subscription boxes of curated, made by women boxes, again, at her-mind.com. You would be supporting a Black business. One of the first things that I opened is the Poppy Riddle Oil. The owner is Chelsea Vosge, and this is a beautiful lang lang. If you are sending this or getting this for someone who is on a health journey, a lot of times I remember when I was going through my treatments for cancer, for breast cancer, you don't want smells that are too potent, particularly soon thereafter or going into chemo. But this is nice to remind us of life and love, and it smells so good. One of the other things is this beautiful lipstick that I am wearing. It is by Tailor Made Organics, and this color comes in the October box. Christine is the owner of Tailor Made Organics, and it has great ingredients for you, you and yours to wear. Another thing that we all love that gets us to that center that helps with our emotional intelligence is this Fearless candle. It is soy made, and the company is woman-owned, called Ives and Bees. One other thing, are you using toner, Nikki?
I do. I'm actually using Jacques toner, actually.
Excellent. I think as I've gotten a little more mature, I think toner is a wonderful ritual. It helps me relax, depending on the scent, as well as it's good for my skin. It helps to keep moisture. I put it on usually before my hyaluronic acid serum, because hyaluronic acid likes the moisture. So have a little damp skin before you use that hyaluronic acid. And this, another gift in our box, this is the Balancing Toner by Gypsy Soul Organics. The owner and founder is Amy Hughes. And this has a lovely lavender smell. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Just spray it all over. Get nice and moisturize the air. It's, coming up to our cold season here in Miami. So you want to keep a toner. I keep one in my desk, actually, because even though we're in Miami and we have a lot of humidity, we are going to have that dry skin. And then the other one I want to highlight is the Healing Balm. Sorry about the light. The Healing Balm. This is by The Farmer's Touch, and it is made with a vanilla bean scent and all natural ingredients. And Trudy and Pam, think of everything. Here's a little catch-all that reminds you that you are a warrior. I want to encourage you to support a female-owned Black business here to curate products just for your self-care. Dr. Delvina talks about that every week. It's the Her Mind box. Go to her-mind.com. Support the business and also support your emotional well-being and that of a close friend. Thanks, Nikki.
Are they based down here in Florida?
Yes, Her Mind is based in South Florida. They're a South Florida business, and thought of this. I mean, I think about when I subscribed to subscription boxes that didn't even have me in mind as a Black woman. And I was like, you sending me this foundation? Are you sending me this thing for my hair? Come on. This takes not just Black women into account, but all women. And we know that because it is Black owned and because Black women have to learn to live in different spaces, these self-care boxes are going to work for anyone on your list. The holidays are coming up. Even if you keep it for them for the holidays, you're always a warrior, right?
Right, of course, definitely. All right, so Miss Carla Hill, thank you so much, and
Thank
we'll see you
you.
next. And now on to my next co-host. He's a private and personal chef. He's also the host on Tasty Islands on American Public Television. So Chef Irie, happy Hump Wednesday. How's it going?
Happy Hump Wednesday, indeed. As I look at you in the darkness, at least darkness behind me. But I'm well lit, darling. I am well lit out here on the balcony. So, salute, happy Hump Wednesday, everybody out there. And so, as you can see, I'm dressed in pink. So, but I first say though, I had no idea what I was going to talk about today. I really transparency and all that good stuff. But just for people out there who are watching, we never coordinate, as I'm looking and listening to everybody speak, it feels as if that, there is a coordinating thread, that's looping, through the show. And I didn't contact Dr. Davida. I didn't contact, Carla, as what we're going to talk about. So today I want to talk about two things. One, as the only male that's on the show. Yes. So I want to, huh?
That means they're very special.
Yes, of course. Yes. So I want to be the dude that's here, louding up, and lodging up Breast Cancer Awareness Month. As you can see, I'm in my pink. Yes, my pink hat, my pink shirt. I don't have a pink ribbon, but yes. So for the guy's perspective, some of us, I'm sure, are either unfamiliar, unawares, or thinking that we are not part of this story and this journey. For anyone who's ever been diagnosed with breast cancer, so for me, as a male, I've had people in my family who have had episodes with breast cancer, and I have lots of friends who some I knew right in the beginning, and some I became aware of. So as a male, I want to say, we should be out here supporting just as well as much as any other woman that's out there. We want to save the tatas too. Yes, we want to save the tatas too. And I think for men, we should not be being on the sideline. If you're married, you are in a exclusive relationship, I think you should be taught by the women to know how to do breast checks as well. Not just for her to just go to the doc to get the mammograms, and then but you should be there with her, understanding how to do breast exams and breast checks, while you're in bed or in the bathroom or something like that. So you become involved, you know, before anything happens or even during, something, just make sure that you're there along the journey. So staying healthy, great diet, exercising, there's always, for anybody, any type of cancer, any type of related issues, those are the things that we need to pay attention to. So men, be supportive. Breast Cancer Awareness Month. It's October. Save the tatas. Yes. So the other thing, today, October 20th, is International Chef's Day. Yes, it is International Chef's Day. And so, yes, on the show, we've had National Chef's Day, but today, every October 20th is International Chef's Day. And it's not just to say, okay, hey, chefs, International Chef's Day. There's a purpose and a meaning behind, the inception of International Chef's Day. And this year's theme, building forward together, ending persistent poverty, respecting all people and our planet. That is the theme for International Chef's Day. So, chefs, if you're out there listening, people that you know as chef, and I definitely want to big up all the Black chefs, Black male chefs, Black female chefs here in South Florida, outside of South Florida, anywhere in the country and the world that you are. Big up to you and your team. We work hard hopefully sometimes we get to play hard. But the one thing um, that was to come from International Chef's Day is that not only do we look towards the future in the types of food we are doing, and how we are treating sustainable food, and how we are, the quality of food that we give to our clients in restaurants or as private clients in events. But we also must remember that for everything that we've learned, we must share it also with those that are coming behind us. They must also learn from the knowledge that you've gained here, because the process continues. So healthy food for the future, healthy food for everybody. International Chef's Day, Breast Cancer Awareness Month is October. Salud. Yes.
Salud. Thank you very much. That's very
Yes,
touching. Thank you
most
very
def.
much. And
So can't wait to see everybody tomorrow on Flavor of South Florida, and it's gonna be a vibe.
I think you made a really good point that a lot of men, partners, spouses, they should definitely become more involved in helping their partner, their women partner with checking and being and making sure everything is fine with the tatas. So I never thought of it that way before. It's mainly women.
Yeah, because I
Very,
remember the very
but
first time that I did it,
yeah,
and I was, asked, and I was shown how to conduct a breast examination. Because sometimes you yourself, maybe you may not feel in the right places, but someone externally, having more, availability to the space, and if you're shown properly, yes, you too can do that. So it becomes a joint relationship thing, just like any how relationships are supposed to be.
right, definitely. Well, thanks for that point. Thank you very much, Chef, and have a wonderful Wednesday night. We'll see you next week.
Peace.
And okay, so now on to our featured guest. Again, we're talking about Black women and cultural appropriation. So my first guest is Barbara Jacq. She is the owner of the beauty brand Jacq, and also Jamila Powell. She's an attorney and also the founder of Maggie Rose Salon and Naturally Drenched. Womenpreneurs, pioneers, just inspirational. Thank you so much for being a part of the panel tonight. So I want to get right into it. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
And women, can you hear me? Okay? Yeah, okay. So you're both in the beauty industry. Of course, Barbara beauty and Jamila mainly hair. So I want to get into this topic really quick. So I spoke earlier about, Sarah Bartman. Are you familiar with Sarah Bartman at all?
I Googled it.
Okay. So I literally learned about Sarah through one of Beyonce's songs. Now, Beyonce is very curvaceous. She's thick, beautiful. And the thing is this, with Sarah was born in the 1800s. And she was the epitome of being ridiculed. She was made fun of. So she was a Black woman, and she had a really, really big butt, in a sense. So here's a picture of her. So this is from the 1800s, and she was born this way. And the Dutch, actually, she's from South Africa, Eastern Cape right now, South Africa. And the Dutch actually came, they colonized her town, and she became a slave. And then when they realized her posterior, she became, I guess, in a sense, an exhibit in the circus. And because the Europeans weren't used to seeing a body like that. So fast forward today, there's a lot of BBLs and a lot of button enhancements, especially with white women. So I want to get your take on Black women and the perception and the stereotype of having, big breasts, big butt, and versus now today with women, especially white women, wanting to have that look. So what's your take on that? Is it cultural appropriation? Are you insulted? Are you flattered? What's your take on that?
Who wants to go first?
You go ahead. You were about to start. Go ahead.
Do we introduce ourselves first to let everybody know who we are, what like the perspective, where we come from?
Definitely, yes. So give us a little about your background.
So my name is Barbara Jacques, and I own Jacq's, a vegan and sustainable skincare brand created for women of color by women of color. Black women are exposed to twice the amount of toxins in beauty skincare products, and I wanted to create a skincare line that's actually formulated for melanated skin that would be truly clean with science-backed formulations that address issues that women of color melanated skin have, including acne, hyperpigmentation, and protecting our skin as we age. And we have everything from cleansers, toners, moisturizers, even beauty bars. And yeah, so that's my background. In terms of my perspective on Sarah Bartman, I remember learning about her very early on in my 20s, and how she was basically paraded around the country, or European countries, and made fun of because of how she was shaped based off of her, her hips and her butt. Fast forward today, where it's now the norm. It's actually the blue, not so much it's kind of like the thing to have that body shape. And this is what my sentiment is that Black women are demonized and celebrated at the same time for having this body shape, and not all of us are shaped like that. I will say that Black women are the blueprint, right? When you think about blackfishing, where white women are now portraying themselves to be a particular skin tone so that they can get likes or attract ball players or live a particular lifestyle because they want the fuller lips or the darker skin, the hair, and then you factor in Eurocentrism, issues that we've dealt with as Black women for centuries, colorism, featureism, where we're picked at because of the size of our nose or how wide our nose is, having particular fuller lips. And now, I mean, for as long as I can remember, getting the fuller lips, even tanning. It's just funny how Black women are held to a different standard, and we're constantly demonized in terms of wearing braids, or it's not wearing your hair natural, it's not professional. But when a white woman does it, or our counterparts do it, because it's not just white women doing it, they are celebrated as trendsetters, or
I wanted to get into that topic
fashion forward. Yeah, exactly. And me and you, Nikki, had this conversation a couple of days ago where it's the Kardashians didn't start it. It has been done for a while. I was born in the 80s, and I remember hearing about seeing Bo Jackson wearing the tribal braids, and how she was told she was beautiful doing it. And I remember, the Black community, it was kind of 50-50 the way it is right now, where it depends upon the context, right? And who does it and how they're doing it. Whereas what comes to mind right now for me is, the movie Cleopatra, where Elizabeth Taylor played Cleopatra for the longest time. I thought Cleopatra was a white woman because of the perception of this Black African, this African woman being portrayed by a white woman. And this is the ideal beauty standard, right? Because she's beautiful and she has this hair, she has these eyes, these blue eyes, and these features. And that is what beauty is, and the misconception of what Black beauty is. While everything that's associated or that is Black is demonized. But when when another culture does it, it's all of a sudden beautiful.
Exactly. Yeah. So like white is right and Black is wrong. So, and Jamila, so give us a little about your background and then your feedback on Sarah Bartman. Fast forward to 2021 with enhancing our peaches.
Okay, well, my name's Jamila Powell, and I am a full-time attorney, a single mom, and I own Maggie Rose Salon. We specialize in textured hair in Davie, Florida. And I just recently launched a curl care line called Naturally Drenched. I honestly think that Barbara touched on a lot of good points. I think that one thing that you said that resonates with me is that, for sure, is the fact that it's something that, in a way, I think that people always looked and maybe wanted. And you know, it wasn't really talked about. I know for me, like growing up, like in a predominantly white neighborhood, it was always that like a mystery, you know, that whole exotic, like, oh, you know, what does she have going on over there? And, you know, kind of like looking and things of that nature. But I think it's also had kind of, in a sense, a negative effect because, you know, we as Black women, we're all built in different ways. So not every Black woman has like this body or these curves, or, you know, we all have different features that make us unique and that are just as special. And so I've also seen how now there's a lot of butt implants and appropriation or things of that nature that are taking place. But what it's also doing is causing, I think sometimes women of color to kind of like, now it's kind of like they've taken what we had, and now if we don't have it, we're trying to like kind of chase what they're doing to outdo them, right? Because now they've kind of taken what our standard of, you know, was natural to us and making it theirs. And then now we're trying to like, I see a lot of women who are like trying to compete with those enhancements by getting their own enhancements. And so that to me is, you know, I think that it speaks a lot to the fact that, you know, even when it comes down to dating or, you know, us as Black women feeling like sometimes we're not worthy enough, or we're in competition or a failing competition when we're trying to, I guess, in a way, exist, or not necessarily compete, but when we're out there with like white women or women of other races and like our counterparts, when now all of a sudden they have features that were something celebrated by us, and now that no longer is exclusive in a sense to us.
Well, I do want to say that I believe Kenya Moore, supposedly she went ahead and she got her butt done, but it wasn't really praised or really recognized. But when the Kardashians got theirs done, it was a big ordeal. So my thing is, do you feel like the Kardashians pioneered or paved the way to you know, for that look to be okay and to be the norm when they weren't the first ones?
I think that people, I mean, honestly, I think plastic surgery has been going on a lot longer than we know. Because sometimes I look back at old movies and I'm like, well, what was going on here? Wait a minute. So I think things have been being enhanced for like a long time. It just wasn't really talked about. And it was maybe something private that you went away for the weekend and you got done. You didn't really just like, yeah, I did it and what? You know what I'm saying? Like, I think it's been going on for a long time. And I just think that they happened to
capitalize.
Yeah, they
normalize it.
Yeah, basically that's it. I mean,
I wouldn't say normalizing. I would say capitalize and got the most benefits out of it, right? Secured the bag quicker as a result of it. Because I love old movies. I love movies from the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, the 60s. And I remember watching a documentary on Marilyn Monroe and how she evolved from the regular everyday smuggler girl into Marilyn Monroe. And in the process of going into Hollywood, she had a lot of work done.
Yes.
But it wasn't spoken about. And how, you know, like Jamila said, it was done here and there quietly. And then also there's a subtle kind of subtleness to it. Whereas opposed to here, we see girls out here walking around with basketball booties, you know, like the booty that there is kind of like it just doesn't look natural, right?
Yes.
And so, or the boob job. And even I remember growing up in the 80s and early 90s where having big boobs and no butt was the thing. And you're walking around with double Ds. Double Ds are pretty normal now, but the H's, you know,
yes.
And that's kind of, I feel like where the shift started, where it was just like, I'm going to get my boob done and I'm just going to say it's natural. And even people are even more comfortable embracing and saying, yeah, I got my work done, where now it's the norm, where I even see in the beauty industry where doctors or even Black physicians and dermatologists are normalizing. And I'm not saying anything is wrong because to each its own, are normalizing the injections, are normalizing the facelifts, are normalizing the nip and tucking as opposed to, you know, the perception that we thought back then it wasn't happening. I think it's normalized where Black women are getting it done. Because if you don't like something about yourself, you go get it fixed, right? Isn't that the old sentiment? So if you feel like you need boobs or your boobs aren't happy, you're gonna get a bigger boob. You're gonna get bigger boobs. And particularly, I think it was also the culture of Miami, where it is. I mean, it was the mecca of getting your butt done or getting any surgery done or getting that Botox, and people will come here for 2 weeks and get it done and go back to work with a whole new body. Right. And so let's also, I think, I know we're talking about a bigger thing, but the culture here in Miami is it's, pretty and glamorized and glossed out, and so I think also when you have young girls that are 15, 16, 17, that still haven't gone through the journey of learning to who they are and learning to love themselves, right? And when we're talking about trends, where this perception or this idea of what is beautiful or what is desirable to the partner or somebody that you're trying to get with, that plays a major part in your self-esteem as a young woman, and understanding this may not be for you, or you're just following a trend, or getting the trying to fit in to keep up with the trends. You know what I'm saying? You guys understand what I'm saying?
And I think too, what we didn't battle was social media. I mean, right now, these our teenagers, our young girls, they're battling, social media, or the desire to feel like, well, this could be me. And if I get this done, this is the lifestyle I could live, and so, if they're doing it and they're making it, they're successful because that's what they see on social media. So I think social media has a lot to do with, spreading this mentality in general. I mean, I'm amazed how many I'm serious. I really think it has even just a negative effect on Black women, because I see so many women that are I'm like, did you get your lips done? I mean, to each their own, whatever you want to do. But I'm like, what's going on here?
Well, it's not just it's also I've been also learning that it's not just here in the United States, but it's also a huge thing in Africa as well, in Nigeria, where women, just as many women that are dying during the surgery, because it's one of the very dangerous surgeries. I remember during the summer where people were tweeting about the line at the airport at the Dominican Republic, everybody was in a wheelchair because they just got their body done.
And it's true. Yes. People leaving. I see people leave all the time. We're in Colombia, just trying to get Turkey to get their teeth done. It's a whole. I think it's a whole. It started, even if the Kardashians are the ones who maybe put it right, but I mean, it's evolved. It's definitely evolved past. It's anything we can alter is being touched.
The other thing is, I mean, let's talk, if we're really going to talk about it, let's talk about during tax season on the radio, where they're advertising, bring in your tax return or just bring in that W-2 and they will finance the booty for $5,000, $4,000. I'm hearing it as low as $3,500 now, where, it's so commercialized, where, just like you said, Jamila, actually, not to put Jamila on the front street, but she got a fatty, and I'm sure people have walked up to you and asked you, is that real?
I have gotten
people ask me if my boobs are real, and I'm like, what?
And if I could just kind of interject, I mean, I think there's one positive to take away from this, because for women who are naturally built that way, it's yeah, girl, I don't need to pay for that. This is all mine, honey. You're trying to look like me. So I feel like the positive is that for women who are ridiculed in the past about their big booty and their big boobs, now it's in. And now I'm pretty sure there's a boost of confidence with their body image. And
but you know what the thing is? And that's what I was saying is the negative side of it is that for women, because not every Black woman has a big butt or chest or curves. a Coke bottle shape. And so a lot of times, I hate to say it, but a lot of times those women are being made fun of for not having those attributes that are associated with being a Black woman. And that's why I feel like it's detrimental to, especially we as Black women, because we're always sometimes, which I don't say I feel like this, but it feels like you're always like, a white woman, that's the standard of beauty. They're put on a pedestal. And then we're like, okay, well, she's pretty for a Black girl, or, like that. And so I think it's dangerous, like what's going on, because, we're telling women that, especially women of color, if you don't have this body, then you're not beautiful, because we've stereotyped what a Black woman is supposed to look like.
Which goes back to Sarah Bartman. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's hard. Like, maybe you're not meant to be curvy. Maybe I wish I was skinny. Shoot. I mean, and it's so many things that it's just so many stereotypes and insecurities that I feel like we have to come up against that other people don't necessarily like know or see. Our hair, our body, like everything.
Yes. When I said Black women are held to a different standard, it definitely has to, we all have our insecurities. I wish I was this, I wish I was that, and blah, 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 blah. And growing up, depending upon what community you grew up in, I was born and raised here in South Florida, where I would get teased for having a wide nose and big eyes, you know what I mean? And then factor in the beauty standards of America, or this Eurocentric kind of ideal of having straight hair, having to deal with live perms, having to deal with bleaching creams, right? And then we're talking about the long-term effects of what that may be, because those internally, like even dyeing your hair, if you're using the wrong chemical, it does have a long-term effect in terms of toxins. Like, for example, I was looking to do a chemical peel before Megan launched Melanated Beauty Spa, and I went to 5 different spas. And I am a dark woman, right? But there are some ingredients that I know as a person who's in beauty, I will not put on my skin, which is hydroquinone, which has been linked to cancer. And I said, hey, I just want a chemical peel, nothing too evasive. Nothing's wrong with my skin. I would like a chemical peel. And every one of these estheticians, with the exception of one black dermatologist, everyone tried to get me to get hydroquinone. And I'm like, no. And they're like, well, in order to lift the pigment off of your face and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, I don't need that. Number one, it's linked to cancer, but why can't we do a chemical peel that does not have that, where it's not going to do more harm than good? You know what I mean? And I think oftentimes is that we as a society, we have to stop subscribing to what the norms are. And we are right now in beauty changing these stereotypes and addressing some of the issues, like with Jamila creating hair care products formulated for curly hair, for kinky hair. And with me creating products that actually are safe and clean, that address issues that for melanated skin. But we don't talk about the issues that we have. And I don't want to say self-hatred, right? Because here we are living in a society where you're constantly being told that you're not good enough, you're not beautiful, you're too dark, you're this, you're that.
You're not going to get nobody to marry. And I mean,
exactly. You have to work here. You have to wear your hair a particular way. Yeah. How many times have I've had the story where I've been, somebody would tell me, oh my gosh, you look so much better if you bleach your skin.
Wow. I cannot believe that.
Or, maybe I remember going natural. I've been natural for about 21 years now. And my family's from the Caribbean, but having women, particularly the women, saying, why don't you just perm your hair? Or why are you still doing this? And then having my locks and be like, oh my gosh, you're a mop head now. And so, it's the brainwashing of what beauty really is, and making sure that your hair is long and that it's not, your edges are laid, and the kinkiness of it all is not associated with being beautiful. Right. However, you will see the trends on social media right now in these Asian countries where Asian men are putting pipe cleaners in their hair, so they have the afro, you know what I mean? And the Kardashians wearing the bantu knots of it, right? And even marrying And I don't want to say, but even marrying a Black man, which is, you know, for them, probably the biggest prize, the bag, securing the bag for them. But it kind of, we have to, as a culture, I think, have to, I mean, I think a large part of us are already doing this and identifying this, you know, the beauty within us, like the men. And I think in this last 4 or 5 years on social media, you know, has created tribes within the community to hone in on that message that Black is beautiful. And that being Black blue is actually seen beautiful and not seen as a bad thing, right? And wearing your hair natural is beautiful, and you can actually be professional while doing it. And my features, the things that make me that been carried on generation by generation by generation, the wide nose, the cheekbones, the big hips, the big butt, is what makes me beautiful. You know, and I think the social media in the last 5 years, particularly emphasizing the embracing and loving yourself the way you are made, and not having to just be okay with you, right? And that's my 2 cents, y'all.
And I think it's important, like even just what you're doing with your brand and the spa, the melanated spa. I look at what I'm doing. I think it's important that we have spaces created for us that really encourage us to love ourselves. And I think honestly, having a salon that caters to curls has been a great benefit to my daughter, because, you know, she doesn't feel like I have to have straight hair. I'm like, she doesn't feel like that. It's not like, well, why can't I wear my hair like this? And I see that a lot, like with a lot of young girls that have curls, like, but I wanted to do this. And I love the fact that she understands the versatility of her hair, and that, you know, if you want to press it out one time, we could do that. But there's beauty in what we could do with the twist out and, you know, your hair. And we have so much versatility, braids, like you have what people want to do.
We're the blueprint, period. Yes. We are the blueprint, period.
I have a question, Jamila. So at Maggie Rose Salon, is there like a demand to straighten the hair, or is it mainly with the fro?
We don't even straighten hair anymore. We took that off. Yeah, we don't straighten hair. Honestly, the reason why we don't do it is because the heat. Honestly, in South Florida, I don't see how you can safely really straighten somebody's hair without heat damage. And so, and 9 times out of 10, you go outside, it's not going to stay. And I was like, I'm not doing it.
Okay, got you. Okay. And so Barbara, we were talking about skin bleaching earlier. So so within the Black and brown community, bleaching is definitely a prominent thing, especially in certain parts of the country. But I wanted to get your take on tanning. So bleaching makes your skin lighter, but what about those who tan within the, you know, the European community to make their skin look darker? So is it a double standard? What's your take on that?
Yeah, it is a double standard. Like, you know, like I said, we're constantly being held at a different standard when it comes to beauty, but they can do everything under the sun that what makes us uniquely different, right? But once, you know, I just feel like.
Go ahead, girl. I'm just saying, you know, they're kind of similar in a sense. Bleaching.
There is similar. So bleaching, I think that is a huge, you know, in Creole, you call it ducoing. I don't know what you call it in patois, but I know that is a very, and even in other countries where Black folks, I think it's a bit of brain poisoning where you have to bleach your skin to feel and look beautiful, right? And then in the tanning, I think it's just part of the culture where, you know, I just want to look a little bit darker. It's summertime, and you know, I don't know. I don't know because I don't think about tanning too much, honestly. I just know that it's, you know, it's I mean, I don't know. It's them trying to look, I don't know if it's them trying to look blacker. I can't say that, but I just know that, I mean, anything with melanin, a little bit more melanin pigment in it is going to look fire. And that's just what it is.
Yeah.
You know, and just like what Jamila said, it's like, there's a mystery, right? Like, oh my gosh, can I touch your hair? There's a mystery, like, you know, oh my gosh, you're bald. Are you from Africa? No, I just shaved my hair. No, but you know, oh my gosh, your skin. Like, even when you go to certain parts of the country, depending upon if you're a traveler, you know, being a Black person traveling, it's a beautiful thing, but at the same time, you can feel like you're a show pony, right?
Yeah.
Because you will walk around and people just stop and stare at you in the most uncomfortable way. And it's not that they mean to do it on purpose, but it's just the beauty of us. You know what I mean? But I know I'm not making excuses for it. But when you see a beautiful Black man or a beautiful Black woman, it's for me, I just love it. But can you imagine, like, just walking around, you in China, you walk around and just people just stop and stare, or people just walk up to you and
they're curious.
You have one of these, like, don't touch your hair.
Yeah.
Till this day, we live in South Florida, and people still try to walk up to you and touch your hair.
Right.
So, I just think that it's the same sentiment. What we said, we are demonized for having the curly hair, for having the melanated skin, for having the hips, the body, but it's celebrated when they mimic the things that we get demonized for that are naturally part of us.
You know, well, Chef Ari just said that it happened to him when he was in China as well. So I guess when he was in China, they were staring at him and
they want to take pictures.
Take pictures. Yeah. And Jamila,
I went a long time ago, and I felt like, and I do feel like I traveled to places where it was more of racism than it was like when I was in China. I felt like they really, just weren't accustomed to seeing, like, they weren't accustomed to it. But I have been places where I'm like, I don't know. I feel like I could see what was going on back in the 1800s over here. Like, and that's the reality, is like, racism is alive and well all over this world. So
I think racism is alive and well, but I also think that we cannot negate the beauty of just being a Black person, because I've traveled to a bunch of different places, and whether it's a Black country or whether it's a European country or Spanish country, they stop and stare. And sometimes you get negative. I heard somebody be like, oh my gosh, look at her nose, it's so flat. Oh my gosh. And then I've even had people walk up to me and like, oh my gosh, your family is beautiful. Like, you guys are a beautiful Black family. You guys are beautiful. So I just feel like it's a combination of both. But, one thing that I say all the time is, oftentimes I feel like right now we're starting to see it, but I feel like as a community, we don't see the power and the beauty within ourselves. Like, I say this all the time when I see a group of Black men walk in that are like really well dressed, or just, they have an essence about them, right? A presence about them. And you just stop and stare, because it's just, I call it majestical, right? Because just seeing that, but even Black women, well, you see a group of Black women that are just beautiful, or just, it's the melanin, it's the hair, it's the essence, it's the us. Like when you did that reel from dinner, you were like, with the music in the background, Black women, because we come in all different shapes and sizes, but it's the Black women, the beauty of being a Black woman. And I think that is also what I want to say allure, that is what the Kardashians are mimicking. That is what the Black fishing women are doing. That's why they see the beauty in us, right? And I think that's where the cultural appropriation comes in at. But I think when we also talk about cultural appropriation, we can talk about the context, right? And when it's good and bad. So it's kind of like some people get cards, yes. And we've seen this on social media, and like a pass, and some people don't, right?
Yeah.
So
I mean, I think it's like the new norm with having the fillers, with white women getting their butts done. I think it's like the new norm now. I think we're kind of used to it at this point, at this time. I feel like in the beginning it was like a shock syndrome to us, but now it's kind of normal to us. We're used to it.
I mean, sometimes I'm still shocked.
But it's not only white women, because I don't want to. It's not only white women. It's not only
women. Yeah.
So it's everyone. Do Black women get a pass? So Black women, they get a pass.
Sometimes I'll be like, what is going on? Like,
but I want to say at least the thigh gaps are out, right? Thigh gaps are out. Thigh gaps.
I mean, but just imagine. I mean, I know. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, well, okay.
You know what? The thing I take from everything is like, I just want everybody to be safe in whatever they're doing. And I think that's also another thing, like whether, even with the bleaching or the tanning or, the butt enhancements, I just want to make sure, really, I just hope everybody is doing it safely, which we know they're not. And I think that's also another thing that scares me too, is like, when people were getting the injections and then, people dying or people going to like, discounted doctors to get this surgery done, chasing after like a certain look. And I'm like, that bothers to me. I'm like, there's like a real safety component to not being able to afford who you're trying to look like. Or even some of these women who can afford the best are sometimes going to people who come to find out aren't even, certified or great at what they do. So
how many times have you turned on Channel 7 News and you heard about this crooked doctor that was doing butt injections and he like, I just feel like, I just feel like the more I'm in beauty, the more I realize that the cultural appropriation is not just when it comes to the body, it comes to the hairstyles, and it's not just white women, it's Asian women, I hate to say it's Latin women, it's everyone. When it comes to Black women doing it, it's a question of keeping up or just trying to secure the bag. Because if you see these white women from, middle America out here securing basketball players, securing millionaires, securing princes because they got a round posterior, they themselves think that, and then even if you go from being, a stripper and then you're getting a big booty too and living that life and being exposed, that's your ticket, that's your bag. But it does come at a cost, right? It does come at a cost. Like I always ask, like, what are you giving up for the bag? When you could have secured the bag yourself. But that's another conversation.
Another discussion.
Another conversation. Jamila, I do want to say, I believe is it Ola Nicky or Ola Nike Odabayo? She's okay, but she goes, I had a great hair experience at Maggie Rose. Thank you. So
thank you. That makes me feel so good. I love that.
So
yes.
So one more thing I do want to talk about, I was talking to one of my girlfriends last week, and we were talking about edges, laying your edges.
Oh.
Now, is laying your edges a form of self-hate for the Black woman? Because if you lay your edges, it's making it look more of a type 3, type silkier type hair. So is laying the edges considered a form of self-hate for Black women? What's your take on that?
You know what? I don't lay my edges because I don't know how. And I don't lay Magnolia's edges because they don't stay. And I've tried. And
my edges are laid.
See, and I have not mastered the laying of the edges at all. And I've tried to whip that toothbrush out and I can't lay them.
No, okay. So I remember growing up here in the 90s, being in elementary school and seeing the Black women with the long nails, the rings, the laid edges, where it was, like it was part of Black culture and seeing it as beautiful, and that is like, you got your hair done, it's flipped, you got your fan. Like, I think that is Black culture, honestly. And that's what I think it is. I think also it has resurfaced, right? And with I'm just gonna give y'all my opinion. Y'all can demonize me if y'all want. I think with the influx of wigs and X, Y, and Z and the pulling of the edges when it comes to hairstyles, a lot of women are suffering from hair loss, alopecia. And if you want a particular hairstyle, like for example, pulling, like doing this, you don't want to pick up them edges when you're getting it braided. And so what do? You lay it down. And I think it's beautiful when before it was demonized as ghetto. Yeah. Right. Even the long nails right now, where it was like ghetto, if you have all these colors on your nails, ghetto this and ghetto that, is unprofessional. Where now you have professional. There are professionals that jump on meetings that you would never assume have these long nails that are pink, lime green, and purple and blue. And they are running Fortune 500 companies, and they're the buyers for this company. But now it's cool, right? Because it's a different subgroup, or a different group within our society that are doing it. Even I flew out to LA several times throughout the year, and seeing Mexican women laying it down. I see Asian women laying it down. I see Armenian women laying it down. And it took me back a lot of it, not even a little bit. And I was just like people watching, and I'm like, and even white women who are wearing their hair in the tight ponytail the way we typically do with the laid edges. And now you have Black women who don't have the short edges that are cutting their edges to do the laid edges. And that's another thing. I don't think it's self-hate. I think it's just, like history repeating itself, right? But now we've owned it, and now the other cultures have owned it as well. Because what I've seen in beauty is that.
Go ahead.
What I've seen in beauty is the things that have been demonized in Black society or Black beauty are now being celebrated.
Right.
But what were you saying?
So what we have to be, and it's what I was saying before with the edges. It comes back to health, like you were saying. Like it's like a lot of it too is like with the wigs, and not necessarily, because I like to switch it up too, but not necessarily embracing your own hair. But it's also like like laying your edges. If you're not like taking care of your edges, you could really lose your edges. If you're not rinsing off that edge control and you just keep on laying it down, the hair
is going to be a lot of pressure, and it's going to eventually.
The pressure on the edges is it's one of the weakest parts of your hair, and the temple, and you're having these. Even like we all like to switch it up. That's the beauty of being a Black woman. You could have blonde hair today, braids tomorrow, fro in a couple days, and bond 2 knots and have locks. That's the beauty of being a Black woman. But also understanding the importance of hair care and what that looks like. And putting retention free. But if you are going to get your hair braided underneath and get a sew-in, leave them edges out so they can breathe, because there's a lot of tension on it. Or even when you have braids, greasing your scalp so that they're not pulling out the edges, because it's a lot of weight on the hair. It's just like the little things that we don't typically think about. But I also think that plays a major role in the professional life, like Black professional women, where you have to look a particular type of way because of your work field, like you being a lawyer. I remember when I cut off the sides of my hair, working at an organization and having to wear a wig because I knew that it was not professional because of the department that I worked in, right? And having to wait for my hair to grow out. And constantly, and I was even told by a Black man that my hair looked naughty, like a bird's nest, and having to ask myself, like, do I go to HR? Like, my hair is natural. And you know what I'm saying? Like, in my hair, and Jamila, you've seen my hair texture. I love my hair, but having people that look like us tell you that is not professional.
Yeah.
But, it's a matter of these Eurocentric ideals of what beauty is and what professional is. But to go back to it, when you can't wear your hair in its natural state, now you're having to cover up your hair. If you're going natural, you got to go natural underneath. And what that comes with, having to constantly wear these tension heavy hairstyles that's pulling your edges out, that's breaking your hair strands. And then you not having time or even being trained to understand that you need to condition your hair. You need to, you need to treat it. What comes with the hair care and maintaining a healthy head of hair.
Well, and that's the thing too, is like what a lot of for us, we have natural hair, but a lot of women still have never touched their natural hair. Like, don't even know
Nicky.
what it feels like, what it looks like. There's a lot of women who still have no clue what it means, like, to not process their hair.
Right.
And I think what you were saying too about the toxins in the products, and because you're in Target now, and why I think that's so important is because your products are quality. And so like when we go to Walmart or Target or a lot of places, places like that, a lot of times the price point tells you a lot about what you're putting on your face and what you're putting on your hair. Mm-hmm. And I tell people that all the time. I'm like, if you're paying $5 for a 16 ounce of gel, what do you think they're putting in there to still make a profit? You know what I'm saying?
I say this all the time. The beauty. I love the beauty supply store. I feel like that's my happy space. But what Nikki said, oh.
Well, something came to mind. I was gonna say that even with the beauty supply stores, other cultures are profiting off of Black women. So
exactly,
they're not Black owned, but it's a multi-billion-dollar industry,
$billion country. Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
And even like the statistic for Black women, I think in 2019 spent over 465. It's a 465 billion market, but Black women spent the most money when it came to beauty products, right? Mm-hmm. But when you think about it, when you come from a working class society and you're just trying to get your hair done, you're just trying to fit into these norms, thinking about clean products is not a high priority. Nope. But then when we think about the long-term effect of us having issues, ovarian issues, where Black women and Caribbean women have the most highest ovarian rate issues of ovarian issues along with cysts, where does that stem from? And then you're putting on products on your skin and in your hair that are causing these long-term effects that are linked to ovarian cancer, that are linked to endocrine disruptors, that are linked to allergies, that are linked to birth defects. These products are marketed towards us because they're cheap. And I say this a lot too, that while we spend the most in beauty, we're not the most knowledgeable. We're not included in the formulation. We're not included in the clinical trials. We're not even included. We're only included in the marketing portion of it.
Well, and that's one thing that really bothers me too, is that when I see like a bunch of ads and I'm like, so you're just throwing a curly line in because you think curls are lucrative. I'm like, but when I go to your page, nobody's using the product. Your line isn't geared towards curls. So like, you're just formulating based off of being able to like make money. And that, I'm like, that bothers me. I'm like, you're not even invested in curls. Like, you don't care.
Let's be real. It's up until the last 4 or 5 years, majority of the beauty products at the beauty supply store are not, the people behind them are not of color.
No.
They're the majority.
They're old white men or middle-aged white men. Yeah, like, the one that lock and twist that I thought, like, I remember when I was locking, I was like, oh my gosh, like, I can use this. It's not even made by Black people or a Black person.
You see how they do their marketing though.
The marketing though, because they know who their target audience is. They know exactly
the colors and the logos and everything is gears you to think that you're actually buying from a Black owned business when you're not.
Oh yeah, you're not. Well, yes.
You're not. Like, I mean, how they put us in that one aisle, like, and that's where we have to go. That one
ethnic aisle.
Yeah, like that little bit is your aisle, and and that's why, like, I love what Barbara does, and I love to see now that there is an increase in awareness and a desire to buy quality products to use on our hair, to use on our skin, and to realize that we may be paying a little bit more, but because the products are quality, they're still going to last the same, if not longer. They're better. You see what I'm saying? Because people don't understand the formulation with it being a lot of it just water and then a bunch of other stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Preservatives. It's just a bunch of preservatives and fillers. Right. And very early on when I started Jacq, I made it a point to use different types of Black women, right? I made it a point, and I got a lot of feedback online because a lot of brands or a lot of our customers found us that way, where they were like, wait a minute, this brand is doing something different, where we highlight what makes us uniquely different, because we come in different shades, right? Our hair textures come in different hair textures, but also what makes you, like, even embracing the acne, so that we can teach women that you are beautiful, even with the darkest of the dark, even with the lightest of the light, even if your hair is a little bit softer and silkier, we still celebrate you. And these products are made for you, because that's why we say it's created for women of color by a woman of color, because that's exactly what it is. And now, just particularly during BLM, where, I remember reading an article where they said how the Black woman in her hand is what sells products. So that's why you see a lot of on your social media feed where you're looking at a lot of these beauty brands or skincare brands or hair care brands and even fashion brands where you're going to start to see more Black faces because we sell product. We sell it, and it's because of the skin color. It's because of the hair. It's the identified of it being cool, right? Because we could take something, we could take a scarf and make it look fire, and it's a basic scarf. You could take some white hand cream and be like, oh girl, you see that way that thing popped on her skin? Because we sell, and there's statistics that behind where if you use the Black woman in marketing, it will sell.
It's so funny. I had this conversation. I was talking to the girl who does Clavio for me today. And she was like, I swear to goodness, she was like, she used to work at this place. And she's like, they would always want my hand or me in every picture. She's like, I don't even work there. And I guarantee you they're still using it. And she's like, because I was the only Black person in the whole company. And I mean, it's true. It sells, but it's also, and that's why I think we have to be careful too with the marketing is even with retailers and things like that are we just being used? Like, how are they using us? Are they using us because they really care about the community and giving back and being equal? Or are they using us just to say, I have a Black brand, or look, I have a Black person in my campaign?
Or because of the profit margins. Let's just be real. There's there's a brand that launched at Target. I'm not going to drop any names. I'll talk to you girls about it later. That everyone thinks that there's a couple brands, actually, now that I think about it, that everyone think that is Black owned. It's both skincare products. And, the more we do, unless you're an informed consumer, where a large population of the masses they're too busy to even care to look and research, the messaging behind it and the words, the key words, or the keywords when you're talking about marketing, where it gives the perception that it is Black owned, but it isn't. And it's a board full of white men behind there. And they know that Black hair care sells. Black skincare is trending, so it's going to sell. So let's just put this together in 5 months and put it on the shelf because they have the relationships, right?
And they have the money to do it. They have the money to do it. And they will tell you that Black doctors are behind it. But when you do your research a little bit more and you're like, oh, this is white owned. There's a particular brand that's on the market right now where she was getting a lot of hell because she was a little blackfishing, because she was giving the perception that she was a Black owned brand. But when people started to call her out on it, she was like, oh no, I'm not Black. I just make products for Black women. Yeah.
So I think we definitely have to have a part 2 conversation. I think we can talk about this like all night. So if you're down for a part 2, I'm totally down.
Yeah.
Just put you on so I'm inviting y'all for a part 2.
Yes, girl.
So my last question is, there's a couple of comments coming in here. Hold on. So Dexter goes, great points. Thank you, ladies. Michelle goes, yeah, they like to emulate our style. And then maybe in person. So maybe we'll have another conversation in person. Okay, we'll talk offline. So my last question is, what would you tell your younger self, and how old would you be?
Oh. What would I tell my younger self? I tell myself a lot of things.
Girl, don't date him. Don't waste your time. That's like your credit.
One thing I would say I tell my younger self is to be focused. And I think I like 30.
You like, my battery's about to die. Hold on.
I like 30, but I like 40 too. I don't know. Honestly, I've had a good run. I've liked every age. I've had a good time.
Okay, good. I mean, we're always learning. Even if you're 50, 60, we're always learning. And Barbara, what about you?
I feel like I've gotten better with age. I'm enjoying it. Like, I don't know, this 40-something.
They don't know, huh? They don't know.
It's a new type of woman.
Well, 40s is your new 30s, isn't it?
40s is, it's a whole new ball game. It's a whole new, like all of us, we look amazing. I mean, sometimes I'm just like, 40 where? Like
40 where?
Like if we look like this, what's 50? 50 is nothing.
Ooh, that's nothing. That's nothing. Yes.
Nothing.
What about you, honey? So what would you tell your younger self?
I wouldn't tell my younger self anything because I was blessed with a mom that spoke life into me before she passed away. And the person that I am today is because of the trials and tribulations that I went through, right? In order to be able to come into my own and learn and find myself. You know, I knew I was beautiful, but sometimes you go through that phase where you don't realize the type of beauty that you have and possess, right? Physically and, spiritually. And I feel like I found my way. And I wouldn't even, I knew that every experience that I had and every, the teasing of me being dark skinned, this and this and that, I found my way to love myself just as I was made to be on earth. And so, everything that I needed to receive, I received it.
Okay. That was really nice. And I want to say, Miss Carla Hill should go shout out to 49 over here. Okay, Miss Carla, we'll see you.
It's like we're young chickens around here, young spring chickens.
All right, so we definitely this is a really in-depth conversation that needs to be had. So we'll definitely be reaching out to you for a part 2. And thank you so much for just being womanpreneurs and being inspirational moms and go-getters. Like, y'all are killing it. I mean, you're in Target, and so and naturally drenched, right?
Yeah.
So you're getting ready to some new products coming up soon. So, here we go. So, drenched.
Yeah, so I finalized 2 masks that'll be coming out early next year, and I'll also be coming out with the foam. So that's it.
All right. So we're looking forward to it. So thank you again. And I'll see you on the gram.
All right. Bye.
Good night.
Good night. And everyone, so we have a few shows lined up throughout the week, and they are as follows. So on Mondays is the Business of Black Business at 1 p.m. with Jay Reynolds. Tuesday is My Money, Your Money at 7 o'clock with Bridget Lumpkins. Wednesday is MIA Soul with me and my co-host. Thursdays is Lunch with Legacy Leaders at noon with Anne-Marie Serral, and Flavor of South Florida at 7 p.m. with Chef Irie. So again, thank you so much, and we'll see you next week, Wednesday. Have a good night.